Rage is definitely not a game I thought I'd be playing in 2019. When the game came out in 2011, I heard not so good things about it, and like the ignorant piece of crap I was, I turned my head away and continued playing other things. Games like LA Noire, Battlefield 3, Saints Row the Third, and later that year, devoting my life to Skyrim. Rage is made by id Software, famously known for series like Wolfenstein, Doom, and Quake. I didn't follow them majorly until recent years learning about their history. So before Rage, the last game I remember them putting out was Doom 3 on the original Xbox. And after that game, they would fade to black in my memory, and then out of nowhere came Rage. Like I previously said, I ignored Rage when it came out and didn't actually play it until this past week. And one of the reasons why is a video by Camelworks showing all the Easter eggs in Rage. And I looked at it and was like, that looks pretty fun, so I decided to give it a go. I downloaded it using Xbox Games Pass, and this is how my experience went. If I could sum up the story, at least the intro, I would say that a meteor comes down and collides with the planet, killing a sizable chunk of the Earth. You know, as meteors tend to do when they hit the planet. There's a thing called Project Eden, which you're a part of, and they send you into a cryo chamber to be woken up in the future. Then boom, you wake up in the future. You go outside to see that the world is really crappy. You get attacked by raiders, but then saved by John Goodman.
It ain't safe here, get in.
And from that point on, through the rest of the game, you are known as the Errand Boy. No, they don't call you that, but that's essentially what you are. Going around doing work for everybody, but getting little benefits every here and there from it, such as new guns, armor upgrades, and what have you. While that does sound like a boring slog of a game, I found myself actually really surprised that I was getting into this. The first 30 minutes of this game is definitely world building and tutorials, but after that, it really starts to pick up. If I could describe what Rage is, I'd say it's part first-person shooter, part racing combat game. It definitely gives you that feel of a Mad Max universe, but slightly off in its own way. Once you've been rescued, John Goodman notices your ARC uniform and says that there's people out there called the Authority. And apparently if they find anybody in an ARC uniform, they take you and they do really bad things to you, so to look out for them. He takes you back to his town, and in favor for saving you, he says, hey, go do chores for me. So he gives you a gun and tells you to go kill a base full of bandits. He was kind enough to lend us his four-wheeler, and we proceeded onwards to fame and glory. With our newly equipped pistol, I decided to roll on in and wipe the floor of absolutely everybody. I was then immediately captured and stabbed in the face. It turns out that my body has a built-in defibrillator that if I get killed, I can resurrect myself at least once back from the dead. It's a mini game that the faster you do it and the better you do, you get more health when you're revived. I resurrected myself and killed that waste of life. Following him, I took the lives of his many brethren and made my escape. I got shot up a bunch on my way out, but as every modern shooter, if you wait long enough, you will heal. I took the zip line, jumped on my four-wheeler, and headed back to society. It was from this point where I learned that shops are a thing in this game, and that looting the bodies, you can find random garbage to sell and earn money. John Goodman then told me to head to this town where they have a few things for me to do. This town so far has been the least relevant point in my story, seeing as after 2 missions I never went back to it, but I've so far headed to everywhere else. This lady asked me to go out and look for someone named Juno who has disappeared the past few days. And this guy wants me to go and turn on a satellite. Thankfully, these 2 missions are the same mission, and you can do them both in one fell swoop. So I hopped back on my four-wheeler and went straight to the satellite. I took a wrong turn on my way there and ended up seeing this sign on the door. I worked my way to the satellite and found Juno's body, murdered by a mutant, which for some reason you can't loot and they just dissolve away after you kill them. I don't know why, but it definitely reminds me of how the enemies fizzle away in the Resident Evil games when they get killed. I flipped the switch on the satellite and headed back to town. When I got back, the guy rewarded me a shotgun for turning on the satellite, and the woman gave me a blueprint to make bandages to heal myself. John Goodman then said I can get my own kick-ass buggy if I go to this guy and do a favor for him. So when I go into his shop, he then tells me that I have to find certain car parts, so I have to go back to the bandit base, kill more of them, and hijack some parts from their vehicles. So I went to the bandit base, killed a bunch of them, and hijacked parts from their vehicles. And when I entered, I found this sign. Wasted only. Huh. I'm ready. And then for absolutely no reason, one of them comes in with a turret on their car and it's an unexpected boss battle. Armed with only my pistol and shotgun, I shot him in the face repeatedly until he died and left. I found 2 ruffians by my cart which I decided to brutally murder, then head back to town. I finally got my official first vehicle, the buggy. Once you obtain the buggy, you're able to do a race for the guy and see if you can beat his time in it, and if you do, he gives you a boost upgrade. Do this, it's definitely worth it for the later run. After you get the boost upgrade, John Goodman tells you you have to go blow up a wall because it's being blocked and it's the only way to get to Wellspring, the next town. So he gives you his trusty sniper rifle and a bunch of explosives and you proceed to liberate the area. America style! Once you make it to Wellsprings, this is where you're going to be spending a lot, and I mean a lot of your time. This is where I ran into the very few issues I had with the game. Wellsprings, once you get in there, is not easy to navigate. I can't tell you how many times that I've ran into twists and turns that have looped me around back to areas where I've already been in. But this issue doesn't stick around forever, because you're going to be here so long that you will eventually learn the town's layout. And this is where I felt the game opened up way more for me. There's a job board where you can accept side missions, and there's a race event which comes with 3 different kinds of races. The race events took my time for nearly an hour at this point, while I did nothing but grind those out to get first place on all of them. It didn't feel grindy, and it was nice to get upgrades for my car by winning these races. 3 different races are time trials, in which you beat the race as fast as possible by yourself, a death battle race where you fight other cars with weaponry while you try and race for first place, and there's a checkpoint race where you go around getting these glowing spots on the map while you kill each other. Killing vehicles and getting the points get you points. The first person to 50 wins. Each of these races are probably about a few minutes each and you can plow through them easy. So I beat as much races as I could and bought as many upgrades as it would let me. After that, I followed my main mission, and that was to speak to the mayor. He told me if I wanted to avoid the authority, I needed to go change my outfit. And choosing an outfit was kinda like small stat bonuses to your character that I didn't feel mattered, so I just chose the outfit that gave me more defense and went on my way. Anything after this point, I completely did not give a shit about. And from here on out, it was strictly gameplay, and I really didn't feel the story mattered. That's until I got to Bash Mutant TV. This place is amazing. It's one of the very few continuous missions you can do on repeat, and it's a game show in which you go in and you just shoot mutants for money and try to survive. So far in the game, I've probably ran this thing a good 6 or 7 times already so far. I get around $500 to $600 per run, and I go back and buy weapon upgrades, ammo, and armor. Rinse, repeat until you're rich, and then you can go and upgrade everything and do a whole bunch of awesome stuff. There's a bunch of activities you can go around and earn money in the game, and they're pretty fun. But by far, this one is the best, and it's one of the only repeatable missions in the game. I'm not going to tell you every single thing I've done throughout the game because I'm trying to keep this as simple as possible. But that essentially sums up my first few hours of gameplay in here, and from this point out, anything afterwards would probably be a spoiler because I'm getting in the more deep story sections of the game. So if you're interested by this point, I would say go pick it up and play it yourself. It's pretty badass. Other than being able to get lost in Wellsprings pretty easy, one of my other problems with this game is the guns. Not how they look or sound necessarily, but trying to shoot somebody feels very floaty. It makes aiming difficult, and I found myself just giving up mostly on trying to aim down sights and just shoot everything from the hip, because I can kill more people that way than looking down sights. And I also ran into a problem in this area during one of the missions where you had to come back. I tried to leave, but the geometry wouldn't let me jump over it, so I ended up wandering around this place for a good solid 10 or so minutes, getting lost, not knowing where to go until the geometry decided that I could leave. Like I previously stated, I didn't really care about the story because the story doesn't even feel like it's there. There's brief mentions of stuff like the Authority, but it's not until over halfway in the game where you start to actually see them. Rage definitely has its flaws, but I wouldn't say it's a bad game. It's functional and it's fun, but its lack of story, floaty gun controls, and sometimes broken world, I can see why the game wasn't exactly praised when it came out. But looking at it from today's standards, with games like Anthem and Fallout 76 being extremely buggy and coming out more often than not, filled with a crap ton of broken stuff, I can see Rage looking like a goddamn masterpiece. You could probably pick it up for cheap now, and I would definitely say go check it out. Especially if you have Xbox Games Pass and you could just download it right now. If you have a good day to kill on a game, Rage is definitely one to pick up. Especially since Rage 2 is right around the corner. But anyway, I hope you like this video. I've been trying to do new content. If you're new here, please subscribe. I'm doing stuff all the time. I wanted to go back and take a look at Rage, and I thought it was pretty great. Hopefully you feel the same way. If not, tell me what you didn't like about it. Thanks for watching. I will talk to you guys later. This has been a look at Rage, and bye-bye. Hey everybody, thanks for watching. I'm trying some new stuff on the channel, seeing what sticks. If you want to support the channel, you can by donating at least $1 a month at my Patreon. The link is down below. It would mean a lot. I could get more work done because I could cover more stuff with the right equipment. Because so far everything that I've done has been almost mostly out of pocket. But once again, thank you so much, and I will talk to you later.